Hello, everybody. Welcome to another fantastic week of the Unlock DAO. Stella, you joined us just in time for us to go live. Hey, Lewis.
Lucky me!
Thanks everybody for joining us. We are going to kick things off with Anupa's update for the next You Make Us. So we'll turn it over to you, Anupa.
Hi, everyone. We have a very exciting guest who's right here on You Make Us, and he's going to be talking about how he uses Unlock. And Will, would you like to say a few words about what we'll be chatting
Well,
about?
yeah, exactly. So most of you guys already know this, but we use Unlock pretty consistently in our daily operations, right? And so in this episode of You Make Us, we're going to talk about the specific use cases that we use it for, that others can kind of glean into and figure out how they can leverage the protocol to their advantage. It was very hampering of not having good connectivity to the app for the last, I don't know, 5, 6 weeks. But now we've got that solved. We figured out it was a wallet issue, and we can resume our activity on the protocol and on the chains that we leverage the protocol. That's an Orchid shirt, actually, if you know who Orchid is.
I don't.
So they first came into the blockchain ecosystem doing VPN hops through the blockchain, and then they transitioned into a micropayments model. So I don't know if they're still around today or not, but yeah, that's been their use cases for blockchain.
Sorry for the distraction. I just couldn't help but think, is that an unlock?
No, it's okay. No, it's not an Unlock shirt. But anyways, yeah, so that's what we're going to be chatting about on You Make Us. Back to you,
Yeah.
Anupa.
Yeah, don't give too much away. But yeah, so join us on the 3rd of June at 10 a.m. EST. And yeah,
Awesome, exciting. The You Make Us series has been fantastic. If you didn't catch the last episode, Julian was featured, so be sure to chime in on that to get a unique opportunity to hear Julian talking live about Unlock Protocol. So thanks, Anupa, for making that happen and bringing in consistently interesting guests who are doing amazing things, not just with Unlock, but in general. It's always fun to hear about what value aligned projects are up to, because we have a lot in common with a lot of different projects with the alignment of values. I think that's what draws people to use the Unlock protocol. But it's interesting to see what they're actually doing with it, because using Unlock isn't about Unlock. It is just a tool to increase, accessibility and usability for projects that, have membership oriented needs, and bringing that on chain, matches their values. And that's what Unlock is built for. So be tuned to that and keep up to date on what is happening in the extended Unlock community. So thank you, Anupa, for that. And yeah, we'll keep trucking along in the agenda. So next up, we have our regular governance updates. So there is currently a proposal up right now that is active for the payment, the payroll for the month of May. We also have some drafts of proposals that should be coming up. I know that we have our financial management steward position as another is up for renewal. So there's space for discussion on that. Did it get posted to the Discord, or is it just on the Telegram group?
I think it was Telegram.
Okay, so make sure you check out the Telegram for the access to that information. Review the draft before it gets published. Now is the opportunity for feedback. So make sure you get in there and share your feedback now when it is relevant and useful. and get onto the your governance platform of choice, whether you're using the official governance page that Julian put together on our website, or Tally, or DGov, I believe, is still active and functional as well. So you have several flavors to choose from. They all get to the same place in the end. So make sure you get on there and review proposals and get your votes in there. We've got a good track record going right now of approvals, so everybody keep up the good work, and don't slack off because you think it doesn't matter, because every vote counts. And it's always fun to see the numbers continuing to stay more active than they have in the past. So good work with everybody staying involved in governance. All right. And moving along in the agenda, we have incented updates from Stella. So maybe if you have a moment, Stella, to unmute and let us know what is cooking in incented.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Okay, so the program is, I think, finalized on my end. I know Sven needs you to transfer the funds, Trix. Just so you know, then he is going to poke you about this, right? And so if wait, where is the, oh, here, stuff. So this is how this looks like now. So I adhered to all the recommendations from everyone. And I'm essentially in the first section, I'm already saying, yeah, it's 600 USDC price pool. It's 30,000 app tokens for voters, right? And that the rewards are split proportionally, right? And then maybe we can also make this highlighted. So this is already like, essentially, that was the biggest recommendation, right? And then afterwards, I avoided some, I want to say, some repetitions. I made some stuff shorter. So as you can see, the whole program is now pretty short. I think if we scale this down, this is the whole program, right? So I think, like, I cannot make it any shorter, let's just say. And in here, I would like to make a tutorial, a horizontal YouTube video. So one that really goes into a little bit of depth, rather than just making this a short, hey, come and participate, right? I think we can always make those. And so was thinking where to find this here. So this is, and I know Stacey already wrote, and I think also Anupa, that they commented on here for, yeah. And I will adhere to that comment as well. Essentially, this is my suggestion for a voiceover script. So the way I usually do this, in case anyone's interested, is I just take my cool little microphone over here, right? And I close every door and every window. And then I just talk into the microphone, talk this whole thing down, right? With breaks and pauses and stuff. And then I put this together with video footage that I separately record, right? Because I never really, like, I'm not really eager to show up on screen with my face. So I just usually do voiceovers also for my TikToks and stuff. So if anyone wants to use this technique for their video submissions, for example, then this is how I do it. I prepare a script, I record the script, and then I usually, you know, I stray a little bit from the text, of course, right? Going with like the flow of how you speak as a normal human. And yeah, that's where I'm at with this. And then hopefully at the end of this week, I can take time to record the video and edit it together. And then I don't know if we can start exactly the program on the 1st of June, but let's just say beginning of June is very much on track. So that is good. But since no one has stressed me out about it, I think I'm also okay if it's 5 days later, because I'm working really hard on the Alana magazine right now. It's costing me every little bit of energy I have.
Wow, that's exciting. Looking forward to seeing the fruits of your labor with Alana. That's great news. Any project in the Unlock community making progress is Unlock progress. So yeah, keep at it and stay focused. got to keep your eye on the prize when you're working in this space, because there's a million different directions that your attention can get pulled, and prioritization is an essential function of high operating individuals. So kudos to you for continuing to lean into that and keeping yourself focused. And thank you for continuing to push along the progress of the Unlock community and the incentive program. I think these are, extremely essential things to keep momentum going, even if we have embraced a slow and sustainable pace. That is more important than rushing and having, incomplete or unsatisfactory things get pushed through. So keeping the bar high, as we would all expect from Stella. So thank you for that. And let's move over to Will and get some more community updates from his project.
Yeah, so as I teased up earlier, we had some challenges with the Unlock web app, being able to add to existing locks or deploy new contracts. Through some testing and some perseverance, we did isolate it to a MetaMask wallet issue. So we switched to a different wallet, and success, right? So now we have full functionality of the Unlock web app again, and we can resume our operations. So that being said, the TreeGens DAO ambassador program is now up over 48 educational certificates issued on the base network through that program and that partnership that we have with the TreeGens DAO. Why was Will not on Unlock DAO calls for 4 weeks? I know everybody's wondering about that. So what I've been doing in the background, because it was such an important platform for us, we didn't want to source another provider. You guys know Charmverse discontinued their services at the end of April. So I've been vibe coding and in compliance with their AGPL license. Yes, I know, Stella, it's amazing, isn't it? The first part of it was we had to rebrand it. But we got it isolated to a local machine. We pushed updates to our GitHub repository, which is public. When we relaunched the Learning Center, because we have to strip out a lot of the feature ads they built in there that are more DAO centric. We're not going to use that functionality. So that's the last little bit we're doing. Then we will apply the third web SDKs for social logins and Web3 logins, so people can log into the new Learning Center and create their new profiles. We're also entertaining removing the EAS integration that they had done and replacing that with Unlock educational certificates. So all things on the table. We're about 90% of the way there. Hopefully we'll have a qualified demo in the next week or two based on my availability of Web3 activity versus Web2 activity, like you, Triggs. Been doing a lot of stuff IRL. So yeah, when we have a demo that we'll show off, we'll probably show it off here first, so people can kind of understand the challenges we had to go through and how we've had to strip it down and make it a leaner platform for our needs. But yeah, that's what's been cooking in the KF Media community realm and the TreeGens DAO realm, and everything good as the TreeGens are pushing towards that massive event on the 27th of July. And we can talk about more of that in a different setting.
Excellent. Thank you for those updates. And it's fantastic to hear about your progress with the Charmverse, project. I think that is such a great undertaking. And kudos to you for tackling it with vibe coding. It makes me think of a couple of things. Since we have a light agenda, I'll just do a little rambling here for a second, but I think it's relevant. I was reading an article recently from someone who was talking about freely accessible code and software being like an important part of our civic existence in today's world. Software isn't just a product that is meant to make profit. Software in today's day and age, with the reliance on technology that we have, access to software is oftentimes part of our civic obligations. We can't exist in modern society without this software. and having it closed and restricted to, gated access to the code itself and how it works, and relying on these companies to produce this software actually limits our civic access, because when these companies stop supporting the software, we lose access to the tools that we've grown reliant on to exist in today's world. And Charmverse is a perfect example of how this works. And Will and his team are, demonstrating the importance of this freely accessible software and open source, code development, because they can actually pick up the development and continue the product so that people who rely on it can continue using it. And this is an important part of modern existence. If software dies when the current maintainers stop maintaining it, then it's not actually usable software. We can't trust it and rely on it like we can with open source software that anyone can pick up and continue. And the vibe coding element, I think, is a huge part of that in today's day and age, because most people it's not reasonable to expect everyone to become a professional developer, but that doesn't mean that people can't use the tools that we have available to us to accomplish software development in a meaningful way that keeps things accessible and functional for the broader community. So, that's exactly why I'm so proud of Will for stepping up and learning how to vibe code so that he can do this important work to maintain access to a functional tool that we all rely on. And the second part of that is, just the important, that leads into, why is vibe coding such an important skill in today's day and age? It's not just for the nerds, it's for all of us to understand how to use these tools so that we can maintain access to these free open software tools that we've grown reliant on. Because you can't always trust that somebody else has the availability. Maintaining open source software is a thankless job, and it's one that often comes without compensation. And so people have to just fit it in where they can, when they can, and relying on a small group of software maintainers, restricts our ability to really push what this technology can do. So if we can all start becoming contributors to the open source software movement in the way that Will is, or even in smaller ways, even with just like little bug fixes or feature adds, what if you want a modal that does something different? Instead of having to wait 6 months for somebody to make that contribution, you can whip it up yourself and add it to the code, and the community will review it and improve it and find where your flaws are, where the vibe coding flaws are, and can fix that. And as a community together, we can, keep these features coming and new functionality added to software, and keep maintaining, these tools that we rely on. Yeah, Stella, go ahead.
So yes, I want to support your stream of motivation that you're spilling here out of the screen. But also there is a little part of me that is worried, right? So when you do software applications that are, I want to say, they're for your community only, right? So for example, for Alana, we're doing a little, back end for the website where people in Alana can come in, add their contributions to an automated system, right? That then calculates monthly payouts, for example, right? It happens within the community, right? It is not, it only gives out a number. It doesn't do automated payments, for example, right? So it feels something that is okay to do, right? Or if you renew a website, or like what Will is doing with Regents, right? But as soon as it hits security issues, right, along the way, this is when I feel like it's necessary to step a little bit on the brake, because vibe coders are, and this includes myself, are not professional developers. We will not be able to actually see, a security bug, even if it stares us right in the face, right? We will not be able to know. So this is where I want to, just for the sake of, a wholesome picture, I want to draw a little bit of a line, because that has already happened, right? People vibe coded a platform that I think were for automated payments or something like this, and it got hacked, right? Like even Anthropic had a hack recently, if I'm not mistaken. And I think it's, hackers and hacking systems have become equally as smart as the good people trying to build open source and useful, cool shit, right? So these two sides, they are still clashing, even now and here and then, right? So there's I don't know,
There's a
little
integrity there,
cautionary.
right?
Yeah, it's just a little bit of caution is still needed because a vibe coder is not a developer. I could look at a piece of code and could not tell you if there is a bug in it, right? Julian will do the same thing and it will be like, well, that looks off, So there is still reason why these professions are around, and I don't want people to, potentially listen to this and get like the wrong idea. I think if you can solve problems for your community and you can do it without risking their security or their safety, then yes, absolutely do it, right? If you cannot guarantee that, then ask a developer who actually can guarantee that for you, right? That's what they're there for. They will know, they will see these things, right? There's also when we're launching stuff for Alana, yes, a lot of it is vibe coded, but the smart contracts are definitely not vibe coded, right? And so is the whole automated payment flow behind some of the automated product payments, right? They're not vibe coded. I would be scared shitless to do that, right? So yeah, just caution.
That's a great addition to my little stream of consciousness thought. And I would encourage, if people are interested in this, to check out the link. I'll share it in the Telegram for the group as well. But it's an interesting read because the author does address some of these like security issues and ways that open source software can be compromised, and sometimes even developers can be manipulated. Right there, she has one example of a social hack where somebody kind of groomed the main maintainer of an open source project so that they could trick them basically into injecting some malicious code because they just didn't notice it. They built up a level of trust with this person, and so it got under the radar, right? And that's why what Stella said is so crucial. Anytime you're dealing with mission critical code, it requires more scrutiny and care and concern with how it's maintained and updated and produced. That's why I really like projects like, I don't know if they're still, I'm assuming they're still going, but Hats Finance, I think was what it was called or whatever. It's not the Hats group, but they do community open, or community decentralized auditing of code. And it's kind of like an organized group that does basically what open source software has been doing from the beginning, right? Relying on the community to provide that auditing, because there are a lot of individuals who enjoy debugging and looking for vulnerabilities, and not in a malicious way, but just that's what satisfies their brain, right? But so if you can hand them these opportunities to do that without having to produce the entire thing themselves, you're more likely to get that engagement. So as a community for Unlock, if we can continue fostering these types of contributors and bringing people together in our community, gives other people more opportunities to get a second or third set of eyes on their code and ask people questions that have the expertise to provide a meaningful answer. Keep going, Stella.
Yeah, fully agree, obviously. And also, I think there's, oh, damn. Oh, damn. I lost it. Oh, damn. I was just like, oh, I got it again. Okay. Okay, so no, one actually, I'm not saying I'm a vibe code pro at this point, but I'm decent, right? And one thing that I've also seen a lot of people not doing is, I don't know, you set up a website or a web app, right, with vibe coding, and then they don't clean it up. So they leave all the former residue, let's just say, that was generated, right? They leave it in the code base. So it's a good practice, even if you're a vibe coder, clean your repo up, right? Do it with vibe coding. Ask the AI, ask like, hey, I think I'm done. This looks great. But can we optimize the repository, right? that's actually something you can vibe code. You can actually ask the LLM to do that for you. And then, you can even ask, this is how I do it. I ask it, hey, can you give me like all the optimization suggestions you have for my website, right? And so it pops up an entire list of stuff that it sees as like crucial to clean up, things that are not so crucial, things that might break stuff if you clean it up, right? So be careful about that too. And then, you can bit by bit, you can work yourself through this and essentially clean up your repository. So when someone comes in, they're not just reading all of these, former editions that you had in there, but they're actually only reading what you want them to read, right? The final app that you put out there. So that's also maybe a good tip on the sidelines to make sure that your repo is clean, the code is clean, and it doesn't matter if it's a website or anything else. And also, stuff will just load faster, right? So it's also good for performance. Yeah, I felt inclined to say that. And also, when you're sharing these tricks, I thought maybe you shared this article with me, but you didn't, no? Then I would quickly share it on screen. I think I found this on some newsletter this week, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. It's essentially, I hope you can see this. It's an article by Andrew Nesbitt. Never heard of this guy before. Sorry, I'm ignorant in that way. But I thought this article was quite cool. It's like dumb ways for an open source project to die, right? So the maintainer left. The maintainer is still there, right? And then there's like sub points, right? What does this mean? So the maintainer left. Okay, well, no one is actually maintaining the repo. That's problematic, right? Or it's a corporate orphan, or it's a thesis orphan, or it's a funding cliff, or it's a hired away problem. So that is, and it essentially it warrants for everyone who's building open source right now, right? It's a cautionary tale of sorts, thinking about, hey, if I'm doing this open source, will I commit my lifetime to this? Do I have someone to take over if I'm not there anymore, right? So it's great if you're building open source, but then also make sure that there is someone who keeps caring for it, right? If no one cares for it, then it's maybe a dumb investment from the get-go.
Yeah.
Sorry, so much honesty.
No, it's good. These are important things to keep in mind, as we all try to push forward into the next stage of technology. I think, we all have to start taking ownership. We can't have ownership of our economy, and, blockchain promises all these things of ownership and self-custody, but that always brings with it, self-responsibility. And with open source software, it's the same thing. We have so much opportunity with open source software, but it also comes with it, certain obligations and responsibilities to make sure we're doing it in a way that doesn't recreate the same problems of corporate software. And having a chain of command or some kind of baton to hand off, or multiple people maintaining, is an important aspect of that. Unlock has faced that as well with our own software, our own code base, right? There are inevitable bottlenecks during this transition stage of decentralization. We have Danny has stepped up quite a bit and is our technical lead, because there is no longer the Unlock Labs to rely on for the full scope of software. We have to have the DAO and the community invested in that process as well. And so we've taken steps and encouraged, we've tried to make sure that we have people within the community who are familiar enough that they can at least engage with the code base and be involved in that process. And that's an important part of the flow. It's challenging. There's, hurdles to overcome no matter how you approach it, different solutions for that. But it has to be at least part of the conversation as you're talking about building open software. So these are all great little tidbits hidden within the weekly DAO Call. That's one of the many reasons why it is worth your time to give it a listen and make sure you're following along with the conversation, because there are lots of very experienced and intelligent people in the Unlock community that bring their wisdom to share with us during this time. So thank you for helping that conversation flow, Stella, and kind of double clicking a bit on the idea of open source software. I think it's it's an important conversation for our ecosystem to keep having. Anyway, me rambling again. I don't know if there were any updates you had for us this week, CC, but if you had anything you wanted to share, we can give you a moment now before we start winding things down. Or Danny, if you had any updates as well. I don't know if you can use your mic today or not, but we'll queue you up after CC.
Sure. I will keep it short. Yes, we are moving on with our campaigns. In fact, this weekend, Metopia just accepted the proposal, so they are drafting the document so we can start discussing it and preparing everything else for the new season. And today at the marketing working group call, we were discussing with Gosman what kind of marketing activities and efforts we could do to support both campaigns, Metopia and Incented. And basically, we came up with, first of all, an article for each of the campaigns. Each articles will be like very focused on everything related on the campaign. And in the case of Metopia, we would be like doing like a recap of what we did on season 1 and focusing on this new season incoming. And right now, Gosman is going to start writing the article for Incented, as this is the campaign that is coming soon. Then also, you make us episodes for both, so we can have both on the shows. So that is something that we need to coordinate with Anupa for clear dates on when we could have them. And then there are some ideas, for example, to do like a thread contest or a meme contest related to Metopia. But that's something that we are still like doing a brainstorming. We just need to figure out first if this could really be managed in the budget that we have in marketing first, and then what could be the best scenario if this contest is a good activity to go for. So that's on the lines, as ideas. And obviously with both campaigns, we will be able to also to do some threads on X, so we can promote it a little bit more actively than the first season. And this could also give us the opportunity to have more spotlight on both campaigns and having more people engaged from our social media and community into Metopia and into Incentive, so people can participate on both campaigns too.
Excellent. Well, it sounds like lots of opportunities for people to engage. Thanks for giving us that overview of where things are at. Things are moving along pretty nicely. I really like the I don't know, I guess we'll call it synergy to have a corporate buzzword of Metopia and Incented. I think that these two initiatives are both kind of pushing us collectively in a positive direction of engaging people in meaningful ways, giving people opportunity to do what they're good at and have it be a positive contribution to the community and have meaningful impact as well. That's really the biggest thing that we're shooting for with all of this, right? Like, this isn't just to experiment, but the goal of the experiment is to bring out positive impact and increase the reach and promotion of Unlock so that more projects can understand how they can utilize Unlock. All right, these the functionality that's built within the protocol isn't always inherently obvious. It's something that I get a lot when I mention Unlock and the topic comes up in conversation outside of our community. The feedback is often like, "Yeah, don't fully understand like what unlock actually is. Like I kind of get it, but like it doesn't click for people immediately yet, which is just the growing pains of trying to do something in a different way, right? Like it just isn't, it doesn't fit a cookie cutter mold that people are used to existing within. And yet all of the functionality, it's, you know, we have more of that sandbox kind of approach where you can do pretty much anything you need to, but you have to understand what your needs are so that you can devise how Unlock can provide that solution. So a lot of this promotion work and bringing people in, showcasing projects in the You Make Us program, and you know, distilling that down into digestible components, which is what CC has been driving with all of the marketing efforts that we've been doing with Metopia and Stella's been doing with Incented. You know, it's all about making it more accessible so that people can understand it in the small little bits of information that our attention span can comprehend in today's world. So I think this is, you know, really keeping Unlock relevant in the environment that we're in right now. We don't have the luxury of just like mass attention to DAOs and blockchain space like we used to, right? We're in a different market right now, and so it requires a different kind of promotion. And I think that, you know, all of our initiatives are pivoting with that change, you know, in the environment that we're in. So it's nice to see that. And as we saw with the first Metopia campaign, it's effective, right? It is actually increasing traffic and awareness, and so we're moving in, using that momentum to move into the next stage of promotion where we're really getting more specific about how, the what and the how, and helping people understand that first step of getting involved in unlocking and integrating it into their project. I think is you know, such important work. So glad to see that continuing. And that the last thing on my mind, I guess, unless anybody else has any topics, is, oh yeah, Danny. Yeah, let's go to Danny, and then I'll do my little last thing. Thanks, CC.
All right. Hope everyone can hear me. Got to make sure. Okay, perfect. So just two things I wanted to talk about. The first is kind of like update on the Ichi ball situation, because I've had to try to look into that, but I've faced a real blocker with the whole I can't even find the right words to like put that in, just capture it. But basically, to get started on the actual work, which would be the coding, looking into the code of how the DAO, the treasury time lock should be able to interact with the Ichi vault to like get the funds out back to the treasury. That is supposed to be like the real problem, but I can't even do that because I don't know the contracts and the documentation around that. So I was trying to find that, which is Stella, you pointed to the chat, which I tried to look to find things, but I couldn't really find anything that I could use there that was like definitively the thing I was looking for. Because I looked at some of the contracts there and I couldn't find any contract that had any money in it, like had some tokens, because I would like to think that the one that has the DAO funds would have some width, at least some wrapped ether. So then you would know, okay, this is the one, and maybe we would try to get the funds out. But bottom line is, I don't really know how that works, and it would help if like someone from their team or whatever could say, okay, this is the thing, and then I can now go look at the code, which is like there's like two parts to it, like knowing what the thing is you're looking at, and then trying to figure out the technical part of doing the thing. So the first part is actually where I'm kind of stuck. So if you know exactly what that is, one thing would be to like send that directly so that I would be able to see that. And the second part would be like if that contract is verified, then maybe I would be able to see the code on chain, and that would help with like how to interact with the smart contract. Otherwise, I would need documentation from like Ichi or something where you would be able to get like the ABI or the contract interface for you to know how to talk to the contract. So it's more or less on the front end of the problem. So that needs to be sorted out before I can actually do my bit of like figuring out the code and all that. So that's the status of that. If we can't get it, I remember Will mentioned he knew someone, so maybe we could try that route if that person might have a way to get
Yeah.
like, yeah.
So
Um,
this is the vault we're talking about, right? So I don't know where to best copy this. I will copy this in the storage chat for now. Okay.
okay,
So this is the
yeah.
vault, right? So now apparently we can open this in the block explorer. Oh yeah, we can actually, right? So then I think we have to go just doing this here out in the open because I'm not a programmer at all, so I don't know what I'm doing. But it seems this is the contract it's interacting with, right? And this is where it's coming from.
So on the URL, you see there's a address equal. Can you go back to the vault? Yeah,
This one?
address. Yeah, can you like copy that to the base scan,
Sure
paste
thing.
it, and
I think that's the same contract.
okay, it's the same thing. Then what about the
Yeah.
drop down? The tokens there, there's the tokens there. Can you click that tokens 104 tokens drop down on the left side?
This one,
Yeah.
right?
So go up. How much up is there? There's like no up, there's no wrapped ether as well. So like where is the value at? Like so there's just some confusion because there's this might be.
So then, but knowing this, right, we can ask a much more qualified question. This is why I wanted to do this, because like this is what was given to us, right? But now then if we go to open in Explorer, like where, like you said, right, where does this go? I guess.
Is the NFT that that previous contract is holding? When you go to that drop down, there were some NFTs or something in the list. Are those
These two?
NFTs signifying the like? Are those the token that you use to access the liquidity? Like you turn that NFT in and it refunds you the tokens to that address or something? I don't know what I'm talking
I'm
about
not
either.
sure, but even if that were the case, where would the funds be coming from? It needs to be in some contract somewhere that you would be calling, which is what I was trying to find. Like I couldn't find it because if there's no value to get back, then like how are we? So I think someone from their team or something would be in a better position to like explain or say how that should work. But that's the problem that I was facing is the blocker. So yeah, that's the situation with Ichi, and if we can get like a headway on that, then I can get into the code and try to figure out the other part of having the DAO turning the Ichi NFT thing that's in the time block to like get the value back.
Sounds great.
Hopefully
Thanks for
that
that.
makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay,
thanks.
perfect.
Yeah.
So
Hopefully
the second,
Stella will be able to get somewhere with that. But yeah, go ahead, Danny, with the rest of your updates.
yeah, the second thing was about T-Rex, and as you may or may not know, T-Rex is a platform built on Unlock for organizing events, and we've been using that for organizing our tournaments on P2E Inferno, and we kind of ran into a situation organizing tournaments where you wouldn't have as much turnout as you would like for it to be meaningful. maybe for top players, because we have the COD one, we have the chess one. They like to be challenged, and you want to see people. And then we have rewards that we give out, and so you might have a reward pool, and suddenly the tournament might have like just 10 people show up. So it's not good enough for the reward that you're giving out. So we needed to solve that problem. So we built a nice little contract, still built on Unlock to solve that, but it's integrated with T-Rex that allows you to set a threshold if you're an event organizer, that if the event, that's like a minimum threshold of attendees that you want to have attend that event for paid events only. So if you're able to get that number, then the event is going to hold. But if you don't get that number, you get to refund everybody their value back. And anyone can trigger the function. That's anyone that has a ticket can actually do that. So if you bought a ticket, you get to see the threshold of the people that needs to be able to get the ticket for the event to happen. And if that's met, then cool, the event is going to happen. If it's not met, anyone can just like click, okay, we didn't get it, cancel, and it sends back everybody's funds. And so, yeah, that's the thing. And it's really cool because we don't get to waste our rewards anymore when we're having these tournaments. We just have it set to the number that we need. And if the people show up, cool. If it doesn't, everyone gets their money back, and we roll the dice for the next tournament. So thought I'd share that with the community. If you have paid events that you want to do and you don't want to like just throw some investment without having the certain requirement of people that you need met, then you can definitely use that.
That is an awesome feature. Thanks for sharing that. I think that sounds like something that would be very useful for a lot of different groups. So exciting to know about that option. I love the idea of the automated refunding where anybody can trigger that. That's very decentralized, and sorry, it's very distracting. Every time this cat comes on the screen, all I want to do is play with the cat. Will, what a cutie. Thanks for
That's my
sharing.
cat, Freckle.
Freckle.
His name is Freckle because he's got one little black freckle on his nose.
Adorable.
Sorry for the distraction, my bad.
No, distractions are always welcome. We are winding down to the end, and these are the furry faces of our friends are always welcome on the Unlock call and any other call that I'm hosting. By the way, this is my unanimous decision. Nobody else gets to vote on it, but that's the privilege of being a host. So if you got a furry friend, by all means, put them on screen. So thanks for all the updates from everybody this week. So my final closing comment is that just calling attention, we've mentioned the Telegram group a couple times in this call. So I think it's important to be clear about, we are transitioning a lot of our regular daily activity to Telegram because a lot of people that are, more deeply involved in Unlock have reported that Discord, the only reason they still use Discord is because of Unlock. It's the sole survivor of Discord heyday that is keeping people on that platform. I know a lot of people still use Discord for other things. It's not just it's not the only thing that people are using, or only Unlock isn't the only reason people are using it. But for a lot of us, it is. And because Telegram has kind of become a bit of a landing pad for everybody who has been abandoning some of these other platforms, as we try to minimize overhead and keep the admin as easy as possible. Discord has a lot of functionality, but it requires a lot of admin. It is complex, and we keep encountering issues on Discord with people not being able to post things, or the auto mod bots taking over things that we can't stop it from doing. It requires a lot of constant effort. And Telegram, while a little bit limiting compared to Discord, is so much simpler and easier to maintain, and it's so much faster to stay connected with a smaller group of people that are active. We don't have thousands of people in the Discord, commenting every single day. So the Telegram is not going to get overwhelmed with spammy activity like it used to a lot of times in these bigger groups with thousands of people. But the active community members in Unlock are a smaller group that is, in a reasonable size that can be maintained on Telegram with minimum moderation needed. So I think that this is a positive move. It'll take some time to keep transitioning. We're not going to shut down the Discord anytime in the near future, but there hopefully will come a day maybe where we don't need the Discord anymore, or something else can replace it that has more of the forum kind of functionality. But for now, the fastest way to get in contact with people in the Unlock community is going to be the Telegram. That's where most people are going to be active every day. We'll still keep updating the Discord and checking in. Obviously, we're not going to just leave people out in the cold, but if you need updates, Telegram's going to be faster. So make sure you get in there and stay up to date on stuff on Telegram. And that's all I've got. So if anybody else has any final words of farewell, by all means, chime in. Otherwise, thank you, everybody, for joining the Unlock Call. It's been another fantastic update this week, and I appreciate everybody for taking the time to contribute and to listen in and stay updated. And we will be back next week, first week of the month. So it is our monthly roundup. So we will be showcasing all of the activity that's been going on and give everybody a very thorough, overview of what is currently going on with Unlock. And then that will feed into our newsletter that we will ship out. So make sure you chime in, let us know what has been on your plate this last month, what's exciting to you about the Unlock community, because we will showcase it. And thanks, everybody. Have a good week.
Hi, bye. Thank you.